3 years ago, I left my cheating ex-fiancé and moved to the other side of country, and I am in peace. 3 years ago, I was engaged to my ex-fiancé. A few weeks before the wedding, one of her former roommates told me that she had been cheating on me with an ex while we were in an exclusive relationship. She gave me all the evidence, basically because she didn't want to stay quiet about this any longer, as she and I were friends. One piece of evidence was a video recording that she took. Other evidence included pictures of them kissing at their place when I wasn't there. The proof was too convincing to be false. Long story short, after being stuck emotionally for a while, I decided to pull the plug on everything. I didn't know if they stopped seeing each other, but I didn't care. I didn't want to face the drama, so I quietly disconnected by canceling the venue, etc. I had to eat a couple of thousand in fees and deposits, but I didn't care. I even cut my lease at my apartment, giving up my deposit, and just dumped all of my stuff except for my electronics. I then told my parents, who were about to fly over from the other side of the country, not to come and why, and they understood. I told them I was going to move as soon as possible, and they told me I could stay with them. After I settled everything else, I sent a mass group message to everybody to say that the wedding was canceled because of my ex's unfaithfulness. To show that I wasn't lying, I basically pasted all of the evidence that my ex's former roommate provided. Then I turned off my old phone, threw it away, and moved to my parents' place. Over the next few months, I pretty much lived like a hermit, using only my work email and deleting all social media except my YouTube, which was under a new account. I even deleted my LinkedIn profile. On top of that, my parents expertly blocked everything else. They didn't even tell me if somebody had reached out. I pretty much worked out at a gym in my parents' place, watched YouTube, and that was it. I think at a certain point, my parents and I sort of grew tired of each other. Weird, I know. And I moved to another state, definitely not my original state, but to a new state. There, I reestablished my roots, bought a condo, and started my new life. I took things very slowly while working remotely in my job. I even set up a private LinkedIn profile purely for networking purposes. About a year after I ended everything, I connected with an old friend who had joined the company that I was working at. He reached out through work and we touched base. This friend was invited to the wedding, but he didn't RSVP at that time. He was one of the people whom I mass texted when I sent the cancellation. He didn't know much about what happened after, but from what he had told me, it got ugly. The chat room that I had used to send the cancellation apparently became a food fight, and it got so bad that he left the chat room. It was pretty much the reaction I wanted. So I pretty much chose the nuclear option and avoided the fallout. I have a really hard time trusting people though, especially those of the opposite sex. I went out on a few dates, but I always kept a certain distance from my dates. I don't know when I will ever learn to trust others implicitly. Anybody have any advice? Comment 1. This bears similarity to my case, or at least my intentions. We were married, so that's a complication, but with a powerful prenup that my lawyer was adamant was fully applicable. I was to get everything that came from me, and she would also get everything that came from her, but only because it was negligible and necessary to live. I was going to get the house, but I had no way to kick her out of it for a few months, so I accepted she would have to be there until I could do something about it. In the meantime, I'd be the one who was elsewhere. My belongings and I moved elsewhere, not telling her where, announcing to everyone we know what she did, that I was divorcing her because of it, and the house situation making it so I wouldn't be near my house for a while. Unfortunately, I was still worried about the house and sometimes went to check on it. At times, she would normally have needed to not be there, but she was there, and I'm not so good at ignoring people who talk to me in the same room. During these conversations, I feebly admitted that things would be easier for me if she weren't here, and eventually she committed to it. It's unclear if she thought the shelter she had been sent to would check on her more often and would have called an ambulance in time. My plan was to never see her again besides in court. She really wasn't supposed to be there when I was checking the house. After she was kicked out of the house, I planned to have it renovated by a professional and then sold by another professional, me never going again near a place she would know about. I like to believe that, in the end, it would have led to the same results in my life. As for what to do, I doubt that anyone is actually capable of helping. Here is what I think is important. Never give up on therapy, and do your best to apply what you're supposed to do in therapy. Change therapists as much as you want, but never drop it until you feel you're trusting again. I'm not saying it will eventually help, but I'm saying that way you're never giving up on you and your chances and that people around you will know. Believe in what can happen throughout a lifetime. It's possible that one day you'll meet someone you'll feel special about in a way that you will easily trust them. Just because there was no fanfare so far with the persons you've met doesn't mean it will never happen. Don't feel guilty if instead of waiting for the fanfare, you eventually decide to get serious with someone who is willing to make do with your difficulties to trust. These stories can make a good life. Comment 2. First of all, I salute how you handled everything. You did the right thing, you went silent but controlled the narrative. That's very important because cheaters tend to gaslight and blame shift everything onto the betrayed one. May I ask you what happened to your ex and her AP? I guess the fallout was heavy for both of them because they got exposed and there was no way to deny it. Comment 3. I have a similar experience to you. My ex cheated on me and I got out of the relationship while still emotionally attached. I dated another guy for 3 months, but I was not over my ex and ended up going back to him for 3 years. It was a mistake, but I don't regret it. If I hadn't gone back, I would have always wondered, what if? But basically, I had massive trust issues and did not want to commit or marry him, and I made life hell for both of us. So we mutually agreed to break it off. After that, I was ready for something fresh and new. I went on dating apps and dated a guy for the first 3 months, after which he dumped me out of the blue, even though we planned things and clicked so well. After my shitty experiences with these 2 guys, I am just as worried as you are in terms of trusting the opposite sex. However, it is part of dating. You never know what the person is like and whether they are good or bad. Comment 4. Anybody have any advice? There is much to be said about being the master of your own destiny and staying away from relationships. As you have seen quite often, they just turn into drama-filled shit shows. So, for you moving forward, unless you happen to come across someone who you instantly click with and who isn't dragging a trainload of baggage with them, you have enough of your own. Then just live your life for you. If someone wishes to join you on your journey, by all means, but they have to buy their own ticket. Edit. And if perchance you do have someone that seems worthwhile cross your path, if they still have an ex in their life or even a BFF who is guy, just walk on by and never look back.